channel, and I'm recording it for our records. So when
Excellent.
Adam gets in, I'll see him because he's in a waiting room. So,
Okay.
all right, gang. So here we are with our second SMC Lunch and Learn. Okay. Today we've got, hold on a second. I'm hearing myself twice. So there we go. All right, I'm good. So I was hearing the YouTube stream. Today I've got a couple of guests that I got done working with a couple of weeks ago. I've got Greg Schaefer. He's down in my left corner. He's wearing the mask with the YouTube TV behind him. He's down in the NBA restart right now doing the NBA finals. He just completed game 3 last night. Also, who will be joining us is Adam Fleischer. He will be joining us. I worked right alongside him for the first couple of weeks of this. He was right beside me, and we had a good time working together. And I wanted to bring them in just to talk a little bit about what they do full time and how they got to where they are. So Greg is with the Dallas Mavericks and Adam is with the Washington Wizards. So I'm going to start this out and I'm going to put it into speaker view. So I'll throw some questions out there for the guys when Adam decides that he can get in. Hopefully Greg will work with him. But they've got to depart for a couple of minutes because they're getting a professional photo done, which I unfortunately was not able to get part of because I'm up here, but I'm okay with that because I'm home. So just make sure you switch to speaker view. I'm doing the same thing now. So I'm going to start it out. Greg, I'm going to put you on the spot right away. Okay. Hopefully you're ready for me. I'm going to put you on the
Yeah, I
spot
am.
right
Hey,
away.
Dr. Jeff.
I'm going to put you on the spot right away. And so first off, tell us what you do is your full-time job, because I know you have a full-time job. And
Yep.
how did you kind of squeeze your way into Dallas, and how long have you been there?
Yeah, we can. Anyway, thanks. I really appreciate the opportunity, Dr. Jeff, to do this. It's really exciting, and not to throw a little bit of a tangent, but I am sitting at the scorer's table right now. You can see in the background the big screen behind me, and hopefully Adam over here, he's right behind me. He'll get logged in. But yeah, I'm at the scorer's table now, which is where we sit every night. My full-time job. I live in Dallas. I work for a company called DXC Technology. It's an IT services company that was born out of a company called EDS, and EDS was founded by a gentleman named Ross Perot. Some of you may have heard. And EDS was acquired by Hewlett Packard in 2008. And about 3 years ago, we spun off into a company called DXC Technology. I've been there for 30 years this past June, and I lead the what's called the pre-sales and solution design team in that company. So we sell IT services to Fortune 500 companies, and I have a team of solution architects that design solutions for those companies that we then sell to them. So that's my job, my full-time job. You can cut me off and ask questions, Dr. Jeff, but I think it's interesting. When I first graduated from college, I went to the University of Arizona, and I graduated in 1990 and moved to Detroit with EDS at the time. And I remember the Pistons were a phenomenal team back then, as probably most of you know. And I remember sharing, I made hardly any money, had barely enough to scrape enough to split season tickets with 3 or 4 people. And I remember our tickets were in the corner of the arena, the Palace of Auburn Hills, second row from the top. And I'm only telling you this because I can't imagine that 30 years later, I would be sitting in the scorer's box at the NBA Finals after a long career of being affiliated with the NBA and a couple different teams. And the point is that you just don't know where life is going to take you. I never would have imagined. I never even could have wished or hoped for that. It never even popped into my head. So anyway, just to get started, I when I was working at EDS, I met somebody, and he one day just said, "Hey, you want to come down down to the arena and helped me run box scores to the TV and the press, the beat writers. Just run box scores at the quarter. And I said, sure, yeah, I'll do that. And that's how I got started in Dallas at the Dallas Mavericks in 1992.
Wow. So you started just as a runner.
I was a runner, and you want me to? I kind of go from there if you want.
Whatever you want to do, Greg.
Yeah,
I'm just
no,
looking. You
I'll,
started as a runner.
yeah,
Right?
I started.
Simplest position to fill, right? It's not easy to fill for us,
No,
but it's one of the ones that's not a highly advanced position, but it's a position nonetheless, right?
exactly. So he just said, hey, and I'll tell you my whole story real quick while Adam's trying to get on here. So I started, I ran boxes, and, we hustled, we ran. We literally, when I said we ran box scores, we ran box scores. And I just remember running as quick as I could. How much time could I leave on the clock between quarters, to drop the box off and come back. Anyhow, I did that for 3 or 4 years, and there was an ice storm. Maybe, hopefully I don't go too long here, but there was an ice storm in Dallas. We don't get ice storms that much. When we do, you can't drive. The gentleman who was the inputter, so he input the play by play on the computer. The primary inputter was doing a college tournament for the Southland Conference. So he was out, and the secondary got in a car accident on the way to the arena in the ice storm. So everybody looked around at the table and said, who's going to enter? Who's going to put in the play-by-play? And they all looked around and they said, let's have Greg do it. He's the newest guy. If he screws up, it won't be so bad. And I remember to this day, that was a game against Utah, Karl Malone, Gary, John Stockton. And, I did that, and it went fine. Everything went fine. But anyway, what kind of happens is over time, people's lives change and they come and go. And before you know it, I was doing inputting. So I spent several years doing inputting. And then I transferred to Denver for my job. And on the way out, I introduced myself to the PR director for the Nuggets and said, hey, I'm moving to Denver. I'd love to come work for you if the opportunity presents itself. And sure enough, when I got to Denver, I started working for the Nuggets and doing some inputting in secondary. And there was a gentleman there that said, hey, why don't you come? We need some help with the Colorado Crush, the arena football team at the time, owned by John Elway. And I said, sure, I'll try that. I'll learn that. So I learned that and did that. And then he said, yeah, we need somebody to help at University of Colorado. So I did that. And these skills just kind of, these things just kind of snowball. And the point is, I guess, from there I came back to Dallas and I started working the scorebook and working SMU basketball and SMU football. And I do so much that my family, they don't understand it, but I love it. And I guess my takeaway is, I, always, I never said no. I was always flexible. I always try to be, dependability is half of the battle. It's half of the, it's 51% of what you need to do. If you're dependable and you try hard and you hurry and you hustle, never be entitled. It can be easy to be in a scenario like this and have a sense of entitlement, filter in, and you got to keep that away. So I could have never imagined that the road would take me and provide me these opportunities. But that's just, those kind of three tenets of, being flexible, saying yes, and hustling and never be entitled got me here. A lot of life experiences.
That's a bit of a story. So, okay, so we're gonna have to change some things. So, as far as normal today, considering I've just found out that the chat has been disabled. So, since that's the case, I will actually. I think I can enable it. Yeah, there we go. Sweet.
You on?
Now I've turned it on. All right. So if anybody has any questions, drop them in. But like Greg said, he didn't say no. So my question following that up, Greg, is some of the things that you've seen over the years. So you said 1992, right?
Yep.
So you've seen a lot, and you've gone through different ownership, right? Different with, especially with Dallas, or you've got Denver, you've got a bunch of different teams you've worked
Yep.
with.
Yep.
Out of all of that, what kind of did you pull from those administrations? How different have they been?
Yeah, they've been quite a they've been quite a bit different. The
Adam just jumped on via phone.
Oh, good.
So
Awesome. Adam is here. Good. Yeah, look, I've really appreciated all the people that I've worked, that generally the PR department, as you know, Dr. Jeff, that's who we work for. And I've met a lot of good people, and what's interesting is that there's a pretty strong connectivity across all those. A lot of people know each other. In fact, when I was in Dallas about ready to move to Denver, I specifically remember the Denver PR person saying, if you're here and if you're doing this in Dallas, then you can come and do it in Denver for me, because I have that trust. And that gentleman knew the Dallas PR person very well. So there's a lot of connections, and a lot of organization. That job, it never seems to, they are working 7/24, and attention to detail is is so important to them. And and I think that's what's been common across all those organizations, is that attention to detail.
So before you depart for your photo, Greg, I want to, and Adam, you can chime in too. I know you're on the phone. Before you head to your photo, right? So do you find any part of the job that you have done easier than any other? Does that make sense?
You mean one job over the other?
Yep.
Well, running was pretty easy, right? Of course, 30 years later, my legs are a little bit more tired. I'm probably not as fast. But they all have their, here's the deal is, they're, in a lot of cases, it's easy for your mind to wander, because you do fall into this sense of, it's like second nature. The second your mind wanders is when something happens on the court.
All hell breaks loose, regardless if it's on the court or not. Yes.
Yes. And those things pile on as soon as, there's a offensive foul, and then there's a technical, and then there's some debate and a fight. And then before you know it, the trainer's calling on the phone, or walking up asking about who the foul was on. And you have a lot of different things coming at you all at once. And so it's easy to wander off a little bit as the game's going up and down, but it's what you gotta stay completely focused, because at any time, everything can come undone for, very, very quickly. And there's a lot of people that are counting on you, all of us as a team, to get it right, and to make sure the officials and the referees are successful as well. So
yeah, there's a lot of people
Adam,
that rely on us.
Yep. Adam, are you on? Okay.
I'm waiting to see if he wants to chime in. He's muted right now.
We'll give him 1 second.
Technical difficulties from the bubble.
Yeah. Adam, you can come over here and share a camera with me.
There he is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyhow, that's all the we're gonna bring out. Adam, you want me to put you on speaker here? All right, let's see if we can do this. I apologize, folks.
For some reason, Adam's username is not working, so getting him into the Zoom has been rather difficult so far. I've been kind of on the backside without you guys knowing, trying to work with him, as we always try to do.
Okay, so can you hear us okay?
Absolutely.
So we're not socially distant, but we have
masks on.
we have masks, and we've been tested for COVID. What, for the last
about
85 days?
Something days, yeah.
So I think we're pretty good.
So sorry everybody. I don't know why I'm having technical difficulties. I've never had issues until now, but we'll just move forward here. Thanks for having me. Following up, kind of piggybacking off what Greg said, I do the shot clock normally. I'm with DC, so I'm with the Wizards, and normally my primary position is shot clock. So again, sorry for being late. I'm not sure how much you've covered, but as I heard Greg say, definitely paying attention. The entire game, especially with shot clock, is very important. I was trying to dial in when Greg went over his history. So a little bit about my history, getting in with the NBA and the Wizards is I was actually in a college course, sports marketing course at George Mason University. And coincidentally, it was an assignment for us to do an internship. And my professor had some connections with the Capitals and DC United, which is our soccer team, but nothing with the Wizards. So, I was a diehard NBA fan, Bullets fan, Wizards fan, and what I really did is I just got in the phone book. Back in the days, we had phone books, and I just looked up the front office for the Washington Wizards, and I just called up the front office on my own. I just asked if they were hiring interns for the season, and luckily they were. They had me come down. I interviewed for an internship in the front office. So my first position, we'll say, with the team was in the front office. So that was the back in the day when the Susan O'Malley days. She was the general manager. I think she might have been the first female general manager, but don't quote me on that. But so that was my first experience. I was an intern with the PR department, game day operations. Part of my job was to, on game day, game night, coordinate those timeout games. So when you see a game during the timeout, you see the games and the t-shirt toss and shoot free throws and miscellaneous games. We would set those up. So we would pull people from the crowd before the game and get them involved. So that was my position first year. And then during the season, I just networked with everybody I met. I wanted to be more player oriented because in the front office, it's fun, but you're not really as player oriented. So I just networked with the equipment guys, the training crew, sorry, we're getting called over there.
Don't forget to take off your credential before you go.
Yeah. So again, networked and slid into a position that was available at the end of the season, and I've been there ever since. So this is my 17th year, and looking for much more. We're going to take this photo real quick. And,
go do your thing. Come back to me.
Yep.
Are they ready?
Yep, they're ready.
Okay. All right, we will be right back.
Sounds good.
Apologize.
So now you guys have an indicator of what the life is like in the bubble. Okay, it's when you're there, you're kind of doing whatever they tell you to do, and you kind of go around the bend. So observations so far from you guys, you can verbally tell me. I'm going to drop your questions into them when they come back. But what did you hear there from Greg and from Adam? I mean, it literally, there should be some things that jumped right out at you from both of them.
When you had us do an assignment, something the assignment said was, I think it was the work in sports. It was to say yes to stuff. And
I mean,
so, like, through their experiences, that's what they did, and that's how they got to where they are.
Well, what about Adam's? What about Adam's comments? Greg said yes to a lot of things, right? What about Adam's comments?
He wasn't shy at all. He got out of his comfort zone and just asked.
Yeah, he pulled himself out of his comfort zone and jumped in a phone book, right? I mean, he looked at the phone book. I mean, that's 17 years ago. He looked into a phone book. You know, phone books were going out back when I was in high school, right? And now they're gone. But he found his way in. So, you know, what did he say specifically, Adam, after he did that year-long internship? What happened after that? Or during that? He said he wanted to switch from into the more player related, right?
He networked with the people that
Yeah.
were in the position he wanted to be in.
Yeah, he talked with people that were going to be tied to the players, particularly the equipment manager, right? You know, so if that spurns questions in your head, drop them in the chat, because these guys are just like me, right? They've done opportunities, they've taken advantage of things left and right, people talking to them, they're networking people, right? And think about this for a minute, you know, all of this for the TCEM majors that might be in here, you know, think about this from the tourism perspective. You know, and when I say that, what I mean is, you know, these guys are no different than you. You know, yeah, they have full-time jobs, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you're going to be part-time and have something else doing full-time. No, the way they did it was they had some other thing they were doing, and all of a sudden it just kind of popped up. So, you know, Adam, he is also, I think, in IT, and I don't think he's mentioned that, but we'll pull that out. We'll coax that out of him when we get back. But Kyle, what do you have to say about that? What do you have to add to all of that?
Just like the part that you were just discussing.
All of it so far.
I mean, everything they said is true. I mean, never say, you know, no, because you never know what's going to lead to what. Even if you don't like what you just said, yes to doing. I've done that plenty of times before, and I've regretted it saying yes, but in the end, it helps you. Everything will help you within your career, no matter what you do, whether it's a connection or, you know, a skill that you gain from, you know, doing what you did, or, you know, even potentially, you know, meeting somebody, or you actually falling in love with what you just did. So yeah, networking is always good. So you guys who are attending, you know, the speaker series coming up, make sure you know, network with those people and kind of research who they are before you go in. That way you may have more questions for them and stuff like that. So just take advantage of, you know, the opportunities that we're giving you now and the opportunities that are given to you later, because like I said, each opportunity is going to help you, you know, no matter what your major is, no matter what your interests are. So, you know, just take advantage of everything.
What was one of the big things, and this is for the room, what is one of the big things that Adam said right there at the beginning of his experience? What did he say there that should have really punched you in the face and caught your eye? Nobody remember what Adam said as he introduced himself?
He said his professor gave him the connection.
Ah, right? What have we told you since day one? Connect with your faculty, right? Don't just play us off as, well, we're the teacher and we don't want to hear from you and we don't want to talk to you. That's not the case. We want to help you. And obviously that same thing happened for Adam. And look, I mean, look what he's doing. You know, so, you know, think about that. You know, we're not here to mess around. You know, we're here to help you out. So, Greg, how did the photo go?
That was phenomenal. It was great. We actually got to take our masks off, which was great.
That's
Yeah,
the
I'd
first time in
reinforce
how
that
many
point.
days?
Yeah, wow. I'd reinforce that point. I think that especially in this day and age, you know, where we're kind of socially distanced, connect, you know, personal connections are, you know, whether it's with your faculty or, you know, having the, you know, the motivation and the, you know, the confidence to reach out and connect with people and just put yourself out there and, you know, that you're available and you want to help and you know, this is where you know, whatever your passion is. You know, if you don't do that, then you know, those opportunities don't open up.
I see that Adam has now switched sides to his mask. He didn't want to be on the Hawaiian side anymore. So there's been a few questions that have been dropped in the chat by the student population here. We did notice, we did a little recap here. We did notice what Adam said about connecting with his faculty member, right? Adam, how did that, first off, before we get into the questions, how did that come about? You said you connected with your sport marketing professor. How did that come about?
So, again, I was in a sports marketing class, and again, sorry if I've missed something. The Grace headphones were in, but the way I got involved was I just everybody had an internship that we had to do related to sports marketing, sports management, and so again, we get to class one day, and our professor had written on the board that if we were interested in doing something with the Capitals or the DC United, get with her because she had some reps she knew with those teams. So, and again, as a basketball fan, I was not interested. Well, I would have preferred to do something with the NBA because it was in the same arena as the Caps, and I just would have enjoyed that better for a seasonal internship. So again, what I did was, like I said, I just called the front office of the Wizards just on a whim and asked if they were hiring interns. So I just took that initiative to just call and ask. And my advice would be, always ask. Put yourself out there. The worst thing that they could have told me was no, or they filled the spots. But luckily, they were hiring. I called it a good time. They were hiring interns, and I interviewed, and interview went well. They brought me on. It was about 7 interns, and just worked every game. It was a daily internship, so not just game day. We were there every day. Community relations. I got a little bit of insight on all departments: community relations, public relations, again, PR. So yeah, it was an awesome experience. Again, I networked with everybody I could that was there. On game day, I would be a lot more busy, but during the week is a lot of downtime. The NBA doesn't practice, 3 hours a day. There's a lot of downtime for the players, and even if the players aren't always at the arena, we're always there. So, grabbing lunch with some of the trainers or offering help for anybody that needs it, staying late, just assisting wherever I could, just to put my name out there, get my face recognized. And when the season was over, they luckily had a spot available that they were trying to fill as more part-time position. So I was actually the video guy for the Mystics, which is a WNBA team in DC. So I was actually the assistant video coordinator for the Mystics for a year, and then I slid into a team attendant position with the Wizards. So the team attendant is like, we call it ball boys. I was in college, so it was something fun to do. And again, during my time as a ball boy, it was awesome to see, not just the Wizards, but every team that came to play us. Just a new world with how other departments, even though it's the same field, like we have a PR guy, the Miami Heat have a PR guy, but seeing how they all work differently, but towards the same goal was really cool. And then the way I got my position right now as a scores table, and again, I'm shot clock, is I was the backup shot clock for the Wizards. I would work practices, work individual workouts, and when the team scrimmaged, they wanted simulation as close to a game as possible. So I ran the shot clock during scrimmages, and when the official shot clock guy for the Wizards couldn't make it, I would fill in. He retired about 8 years ago, and I was the backup, so they asked me to be the main guy, and been here ever since.
Yeah, it's kind of like my story with the Pacers. Guy left, and I just kind of filled in as the backup and kind of took over the spot. Okay, so Adam, what is it that you do full time? Okay, I know that you have a full time position. What is it that you do full time? Let's explain that to the students.
Yep, full time couldn't be further from NBA. Full time, I work for an IT company in Virginia, in Gainesville, Virginia. It's called NCS Technologies, and we sell hardware and software to every branch of the government. So we have contracts with Air Force, Army, Navy. We build integrated racks for submarines. So it's much more technical. I don't work with athletes in my day job. Yeah, I'm at a desk all day. Now I'm at home working from my home office all day when I'm not here. And it's a nice break to have Wizards as my backup for some fun. But yeah, so everybody on my table, and I assume, everybody else, every other teams, we do have full-time day jobs. So it's not something that we could do.
Doesn't pay the bills.
It won't pay the bills, but it's definitely the experience is well worth it. I think I speak for everybody where I would do it for free. Luckily, there is a paycheck, but we got the best seat in the house. Seeing the highest class of athlete playing a game that we all love to watch, and hopefully I'm here forever.
Yeah, you can't sum it up any better than that, I don't think. All right, so in the chat here, okay, I'm going to skip around. I'm not going to go in order. I'm going to skip around. So the first question is what are some of the necessary skills that you guys use every day, okay, that help you succeed in your job with the NBA?
Oh yeah, I'll go first, if you don't mind, Greg.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, definitely teamwork. As everybody knows, the team is out there playing, but we are a team back here on the stat crew as well. Behind the scenes, if one person's not on the same page as everybody else, if we're not all working together, it will be a long night. And even past the game, there has been times where, Greg, Jeff, as a stat crew guy, if you mess up on stats and the game keeps going back and forth, you'll have to restat the game after the game is over. Not you personally, but I've been in scenarios where the guys back there have just, messed up the entire stat line for the night, and they had to rescore the game because it has to be perfect by the end of the night before stats are released the next day. And it's just it's a snowball effect. If the stat crew is wrong in the first quarter and the coaching staffs aren't getting the correct box score, it'll blow up. So working together is key.
You can spill the story if you want of me blowing the sides in the Boston game if you want, Adam.
You know what? That was a really quick fix. That was just a flip flop, and boom, we were right back at it.
Yeah, that was my little snafu as primary. I had the teams on shooting at the wrong sides of the court. Luckily, I had the wherewithal to realize it and actually put them in the correct spots on the opposite side of the court. So all Adam had to do was go in and edit when I switched the sides back and change the sides of the floor. Needless to say, it was a stupid mistake on my part. Let's just put it that way.
Yep, and sorry, I want to interrupt you.
No.
The last thing I'll say before I let Greg chime in, sorry if I'm being long-winded here, is knowing everybody else's job is key as well. I'm a shot clock, but knowing how to do stats, knowing when subs are coming, knowing everybody else's position helps just in case there is a snafu or something goes wrong or somebody, messes up somehow. It's good that we all know each other's positions so we can chime in and say, hey, sub at the table, hit the horn if they're not paying attention, something like that. So just knowing everybody's role, being familiar with all spots on the table, stat crew, front table, it just helps make the game go a lot smoother.
Well, I didn't tell the story of the clock operator and Evan, and I don't know if you want to shed light on that situation that occurred because you're talking about not paying attention and knowing each other's roles, right?
Yes. Was that your crew with her?
No.
No.
It was another crew, but it happened.
Right. So there was a gentleman who does the was it game clock or scoreboard?
Game
clock. So at halftime, we all get a break, and there's some food and refreshments available. We just got to be mindful of the halftime clock, right? Give 14 minutes. We got to be back in our seats, ready for the game to continue. And we're all professionals here. We were chosen to be at the bubble for a reason, but we're all human, right? So what was a quick coffee break turned into a quick conversation with some peers, and you just lost track of time, and it was displayed on national TV with Van Gundy commenting on where is our game clock guy, where is our scoreboard guy. and we couldn't start the game without him. So that's how important our jobs here are. That they cannot start the game without us being in our position and doing what we came here to do. So following up, Evan is our IT guy, and he knows the position of how to do every spot on the table. So luckily he jumped in about a minute after we realized that our guy was not here. And, it was, I tell everybody the punishment. So the guy came about a minute or two after the game had started. And, there's no punishment that could have been worse than him realizing the game had started when he's not here. And just that sinking feeling in your stomach that, oh my God, I'm not here. Game has started, national TV, and what am I gonna do? So yeah.
And the
that's just,
constant ribbing that came afterward.
Yeah. He'll obviously never forget that. I mean, the camera followed him from, getting on the backstage here to his seat. So
And that was not good. Let's just put it that way. That was not
Right.
good.
Thank God it was not me.
So, Greg, do you have any other, skills or things that you think that students should try to develop to try to get into this world that, is kind of a very tight-knit, difficult to enter world?
Yeah, so we want to move something else?
Yeah, sorry, we may be getting moved here.
Yeah,
I don't think we're not in the way. I don't think. Do we need to?
I think we're in their way.
I'm loving this. I'm
Okay.
just loving it.
Okay, we're on the move, but I can continue to talk here. They're doing pictures here, as you guys can see.
Oh,
And,
yeah, they are. They got a ladder in there and
see, I guess
everything. We didn't get a ladder.
I guess we were gonna be photo bombing their picture. Yeah, some of what Adam said, I agree with. I think to me the three. Let's see, Adam. We can kind of huddle here.
Yeah.
I think so. We're actually sitting here on the Lakers bench. The three key kind of skills that here we go. You can see us both here. That I think are critical are focus, which I talked about a little bit ago. Hustle. And most importantly, as Adam talked about, communication. I mean, this game is fast. Every game is fast, and if you're not communicating and you're not all on the same page, things can go wrong pretty quickly. If you're not hustling and you're a step behind, things can go wrong pretty quickly. And if you're not focused, things can go wrong pretty quickly. So those three, which have nothing to do with the game itself. Obviously understanding the rules up and down and diagonal and sideways is extremely helpful. But having those three kind of core, focus, hustle, and communication are, those to me are the critical, again, that's like half or more than half of what's required to be successful.
Absolutely. I'll agree with all three of those. So another question that was dropped, is there one particular thing or even multiple things that either one of you find to be the most difficult about your job? And if there is anything, how have you managed to get through them?
It's a good question. Shot clock wise, difficult thing is, staying alert. The shot clock, again, I do the shot clock, so I don't want to be biased here, but it's one of the most live positions on the table where there's really no room for error. If you do mess up, the whole game stops, and the referees have to come over and they have to readjust the clock or the shot clock, and players get aggravated, coaches get aggravated. So it's really paying attention is key. And I love doing the shot clock. I'd rather do that than any other position on the table. I do not do it down here, but at home for the Wizards, that's all I do, the shot clock. And it's easy to get into a routine where you're just watching players and watching the game. At times I equate it to a long road trip. when you drive somewhere and you end up at your destination, you're thinking, I don't even remember driving here. Sometimes, the guys have been going up and down a couple times, and I'm like, I hope I've been doing the shot clock.
How did I get here?
Yeah, like I hope I've been doing this because I'm in the zone and I'm just caught up. But yeah, my first season, my very first game, I remember I was very nervous. And someone pulled me aside. I think it was one of the referees pulled me aside and was just like, after the first 3 up and backs, you'll be fine. And he was right. Once they get up, I've been doing shot clock for scrimmages and the Mystics for 2 seasons. So he was right. Once they got in the groove, it was like nothing. So, but yeah, paying attention is obviously key because there are a lot of eyes on you, not even in the arena, but, broadcasted on TV.
Greg, what about you? Have you encountered any struggles?
Yeah, I think that I've been doing this for a long time. So, but if I look back, the first time that you do something in a real game, the first time I ran box scores, the first time I inputted, the first time I did the scorebook, those first times, those are the hardest. Those are the hardest, and it's just about preparation. It's just about preparation and practice. I mean, you can't show up and go, all right, I'm going to do my best today, because you got a team of people counting on you. It's hard because you do have people counting on you. And so that sort of the hardest part for me has been the angst. The few days before having to do something for the very first time. And, you just spend your time practicing and, things, the more you practice, the higher the probability things will go pretty well. But that's the hard part.
What is it? Practice makes permanent? Is that what it is? Practice makes permanent?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But you can never practice everything, right?
So this one's directed at you, Greg. So how is it working under Mark Cuban? And it's such a well-respected organization, right? And does the ownership have a huge impact on how the organization's run?
Yeah, I think look, he's very active and he's great. I mean, he runs out in the concourse. He runs out onto the into the before the game, and he's got so much energy. A high five to everybody, all the every employee. So there's definitely an air of confidence. There's an energy, in that organization, and sort of this. I mean, it is. I mean, the leader of the organization sets the tone, right? And the tone that he sets is an energetic tone. We can overcome any obstacle tone. A half glass full tone, as opposed to half glass empty. So yeah, he's he walks in and you can feel his energy, as he walks by you, and that's pretty cool to see. And he's a local Indianian. Do you say it that way? Local Indiana
Hoosier.
guy.
Hoosier.
A local Hoosier.
He's a Hoosier.
So yeah, he's from the day that he bought the team. He sits. You probably are all aware. He sits right there next to the bench at games, and he just brings energy and excitement, which that's a lot of owners aren't really seen or heard, but he definitely brings some energy and optimism.
So I just have, this is a question coming from me, and I know the answer, but Adam, you received something special while we were down in the bubble, correct? From your time with the Mystics?
I did, yes. Yes, I did.
What did you receive that was special?
Yep. So, fortunately, the Mystics won the championship, the WNBA championship last year. So everybody on the staff crew got a championship ring, and I cannot wait to get home and get it. That's gonna be my first stop when I get home. is to pick up that ring. It's really nice. Jeff, I'll have to send you pictures if you're interested.
Oh, I saw them. They were already on your Instagram. I saw
yeah,
them.
they are on there. Yep, they're really nice. Our name is in
You
there.
got some bling?
Yep. So
It's a big fat championship ring. It's not one of those replicas. That's a real deal.
Yep, it's the real deal. And yep, I'll pass it down to my daughter. And it's something that I'll definitely always cherish. And hopefully more to come. Hopefully we'll get one with the Wizards.
What about you, Greg? Did you get one from 11?
You know, we got one. We didn't get the real deal.
You got the replica one, yeah. That's what we expect,
we got
right?
the replica one. Yep.
Yeah, I expect that from most people.
You know, I guess compared to what they were giving out 40 years ago, the replica is probably pretty nice. But
the replica is just like the ones that were given out 40 years ago, right?
Yeah, exactly. But in today's age, they're all there's a lot of blame.
So here's a follow-up question, kind of sort of to what you were talking about skills and things. Do you guys find it hard to balance that full-time job and working for organizations on the side? And if not, or if so, what tips would you give on balancing something like that?
Well, I mean, I'll go. Interestingly enough, there were several years where I was traveling 30, 40 weeks a year for my job. So it is difficult to balance, and you've got to you just got to plan your time well and make sure that you're on a team that has sufficient backup. But it is a balancing act. I mean, and you could have a hard day at work, right? And then next thing you know, you're fighting traffic to the arena, and then and then you got to be game on. You got to be ready to go. So that's back to the earlier question. That can be pretty hard if you've been up since like 6 a.m. working 10 hours a day, and then fighting the traffic, and then it's almost like you got to have the energy like you just woke up. But yeah, it is difficult to balance, and with family, you've got to we've missed things. My daughter started as she's a freshman. I missed that. I missed moving my one and only child to college.
If that cut out on you guys, his daughter's a freshman at the University of Florida in Gainesville.
Yep. So you miss things, and that is hard. That is hard. Sometimes you miss some milestones. But I don't know, Adam.
Yeah. Balancing both it's difficult, but if you have people that you work well with around you, it becomes a lot easier. My full-time job is my priority job. So if there was a, push come to shove, if my full-time job said, you know what, we can't have you working the Wizards anymore,
yeah,
I would really have to think about, what's my priority. Obviously my 9 to 5 pays the bills. I have kids, family. So that would come first. But luckily, as I imagine most jobs are, being flexible with getting to the arena. I leave my job, 30 minutes early, and then I go to the arena and I work the game. So the key is getting a flexible full-time job with people who, if you do a good job, as long as your work gets done, they're understanding, and you have free reign. And then it helps that my part-time, my side job is something that's really cool and it's fun, and the hookups or the connections I have, I can give to my current job, right? I can bring my boss to a game. I can bring potential customers or clients to a game, and kind of use my NBA Wizards job as a gateway to kind of supplement why I'm leaving early. I'm leaving early now, but on Friday when we play, the Lakers, client A can come. I have tickets for them. So it's just networking again, and balancing both, and luckily, knock on wood, this is my 17th year. And like I said, I hope to do it forever. And, like many of us do.
Yeah, it's not easy balancing. It's a balancing act. I mean, it's a high wire act to balance
Definitely.
your full timer with a part time, and in my case, 4 part time jobs on the side because working for all the different leagues. So another, basically, what's our final question? It looks like, what types of interactions, if any, do you guys have with the players and coaches?
Yeah, I'll go first. So I was a ball boy for 11 seasons, and I worked the visiting team locker room, which was a perfect spot because you work with the Wizards all week. It's fun to see the other teams finally come in and you see different players. So my first season, I was really in awe of just different teams coming in. You see these guys on TV, and they are now in your face and are asking you for favors and to run errands and to daily responsibilities in the locker room. And one thing that I learned is that once these players are off the pedestal, they become real people, right? They are just like you and me. They have attitudes. They're not always the nicest. I will say though that about 95% of my experience with players are positive. They know that they're in a world where the 1% of the planet has, right? Not even 1%. They know that they're in a really gifted spot in life, and not everybody has a double-digit career year, right? Some of them are in the league for 3 years. Their rookie contract is up, and they're out of the league. So a lot of players understand that and are very nice. They know that they're not going to last forever, and it's fun for them. The veterans, they depending on who they are, they get in their own groove, and some of them like to be left alone. But for the majority, everybody's really nice. There are a few stories. I tell my buddies that don't ask me about your favorite player because I might ruin them for you. Because some of them are not. Some of them can be jerks, to be honest. But on a different Zoom call, I'll have to share some stories. But yeah, for the most part, all my interactions with players, coaches are positive. During game time, it's a little different because everybody wants to win. Coaches are definitely more, how do I put this? They get more hyped up. They're angry at everything, and you can't take it personal. As soon as the game is over, everybody's back to being really cool. It's just they're trying to get their job done. Players are trying to win for many reasons, not just to have a win in the column, but a lot of these players have incentives that they need to hit for contract purposes. When players play for contract years, they're really more focused. They're locked in. They want to make the big payday. So it's but for the most part, again, this is a fantasy job. They know they live in a fantasy world, and everybody's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, we show in the stat crew, we show up at what 5:30, 6 o'clock, and we leave right after the game, and that window, these players and coaches, this is their office, and they're all business. So I think you probably have a lot different experience as a ball boy than you are, if you're on the staff versus if you're on the stat crew. But yeah, they're during that window, that 5-hour window I see them from the stat crew perspective. It's it's business. They're there to play and win, and not necessarily to socialize.
Yeah, my position's a little different because it sends me into the locker room post game, which I get to see
Yeah.
a whole different world compared to what some other people see. And I'm glad, Adam, that you have got the empathy with me about being in the locker room. I'm glad that we've shared that you've been in the locker room for 11 years, right? So my final question for you guys is, you've been down in the restart now since July 12th. Okay. What experience down there have you had that has really been very impactful for you? And what was your favorite moment down there?
Think about that for a second here.
I'm throwing stuff at you here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll just, I don't know if it'll come out real concisely, but this has been a privilege. And probably the biggest impact, the biggest takeaway, and first of all, I'll never forget most of, what we've been through here. Having the collaboration and and being able to build relationships and get to meet people like you and all the folks that do what we do. No, really across the league. And everybody does things. I think, Adam, you said it. People do things a little bit differently.
Yep.
So you learn, but they're all doing it for the same outcome. That's been pretty special. The interaction with the referees has been really special. Again, there we see them in a very short window, and this has given us all an opportunity to maybe develop a little more of a relationship and a little bit more trust.
Pickleball courts.
Yeah, pickleball courts. Yeah. And so it's those things that are. It's such a unique experience. The whole thing in a package is just unforgettable. But there are a lot of people that we have these relationships now that we just didn't have, and something in common, right? That we were on emails, common emails, but didn't know each other. So that's been pretty good.
Yeah, and my takeaway is it's, even though, like we said, we work every home game and we've been in the locker room, but we're still kind of outsiders looking in on that world. But being here, it's really opened my eyes to what it means to work for a multi-billion-dollar company. My IT company in Virginia, is it's worth millions of dollars, but not billions of dollars. So being here, we could argue that we're being treated just like the players. Everything is kind of catered to us. Everything is free. Every meal is free. The rooms are paid for. We're on we're basically on an island here where everything is being provided for us. So it's cool to live a little bit how they're living, right?
Yeah, we'll be in no one says no here. If you want something,
no one says no.
As you know, Dr. J, you get it, and it's going to be a shock going back to the real world, and why we're gonna you want to pick up a bag and just start filling stuff up. Goodies.
That first trip to the grocery store is going to be difficult.
Yeah. What do you mean I have to pay for this?
Right.
And your magic band does not work to buy things.
What do you mean I can't sit at the pool all day and then go work out and walk around and see people that I see on TV all the time? What do you mean? What is this?
Yep.
So I've got several moments that jumped out at me while I was down there, but one of them being like the 50-50 game with Mitchell and Murray, and some of the things that we were able to do. What is a moment that has, maybe even two moments that have stood out for you that you were a part of so far in this restart?
Yeah, mine would have to be the Anthony Davis. You were right there. The Anthony Davis buzzer beater against the Nuggets. I was working replay that day, so I was just coincidentally right behind him when he kind of curled off the top, took the shot, and I knew, I was telling the guys after the game, I knew as soon as it left his hand, it was right in front of my face. I knew as soon as it left his hand, it was going in. And I just kind of watched it in slow-mo. He released it, kind of watched it, just nothing but net. Everybody ran and like swarmed him and mugged him, and just being right there. He was like a foot away, and just knowing that as soon as it left his hand was going in was crazy. And that's something that I'll definitely always remember. And just the celebration afterwards, because with no fans here, it is a different atmosphere. If that had happened at home, it would have been a lot crazier. But we get to see how the real camaraderie between the players and the coaching staff, and it's just another insight into what life is like here right now.
Yeah, I think for me, when the Lakers won the conference championship, it's pretty cool being right there. The confetti, the team, and it's a different feel because you don't have a lot of fans. So it's like this. It's almost like a more intimate, celebration. That was pretty surreal, and we may see it. One of us, we're on different teams. One of us will be lucky enough to see, the winner of the finals, and that'll probably be the most memorable moment, at least for me, if I'm lucky enough to see that. Luka's shot was just amazing. You guys can check that out if you didn't see that, but that was incredible. And being a Dallas fan, there's no better time right now than being a Mavs fan right now. I mean, they're just they got a lot of good things coming.
So what about, so we've got your in arena, right? What about outside? What is something that you'll take away personally that was a memory that it will live with you forever from outside the arena? So at the resort and socially.
So I think the biggest thing is that the playing pickleball, and it's just it's pretty surreal that you walk over there and you find yourself playing with a referee or two, couple of newspaper writers that you read in the paper, and maybe a couple of ex-players, like a Richard Jefferson or someone like that. And it's just special. It's like, hey, let's, since when am I ever going to play a sport against a world champion, professional athlete, right? It's surreal.
Yeah, definitely the atmosphere here outside the arena is, I would even compare it to a college campus atmosphere where, at night, everybody's very friendly. Everybody has their own cliques. The TV crew hangs out together. The stat crew hangs out together. But wherever you walk around campus at night, everybody's very friendly. People are, I won't say partying, but they're having a good time, by the pool, or they're, playing cards or dominoes, and everybody's very welcoming. The referees have their own clique, but they're, come on in, let's enjoy the night together. There's been instances where you walk from one pool at the end of campus to the other one, and it's just a new world. And
it is. There's a. It is like college. There's a place for everybody, and you can move around and be in all kinds of different places and with different people, and it is like that.
Yeah. So it's definitely something I remember, and making our relationships with the stat crews from other teams. It's been really eye-opening to see how we all have the same common goal, but sometimes the stat crews work differently together. So it's something I'll definitely bring back to DC, and I'll definitely cherish these memories. Like I'm sure we all will.
Yeah, I won't disagree with that at all. So actually, a question just dropped in. So this is a great question because a lot of people don't seem to understand what we do as far as how we react to things, right? Are you able to show any reaction or emotion after like the play like Anthony Davis, or are you not able to do that? I mean, how easy is it for you to whether display it or not display it, or how do you display it? I guess you could call it.
Yeah, that's a good question. Luckily with masks on, it's easier to hide our reaction. But there's two sides to that coin, right? At home with the Wizards, recently past couple of seasons we haven't been as good, right? So it's, how do you hide your disappointment for the team after a game, right? On the flip side, 2 years ago, or maybe it was 3 seasons ago, when John Wall hits the buzzer beater against the Celtics and jumps up on the scorer's table. How do you keep your composure, because we are, we're not supposed to show favoritism, right? Even though we want a certain team to win, we're not supposed to. So it's just, just being here. I've worked hundreds of games. We've all worked hundreds and hundreds of games. So it's exciting, but we just got to keep it inside. And then once the lights go out and we walk to our cars, and then we can really express our enjoyment. But
Yeah.
yeah, but we're only human.
Yeah,
you know?
no, it's a great question because we're an extension of the referee crew, right? And yeah, you gotta keep it inside.
Yeah, you know what? There's it's actually better to do because of the referees. Because there have been times where close game, referee makes a call not in your team's favor, and there have been guys on the table that are like shaking their head or they're being a fan and they're like, obviously not happy with that call. And referees have come back and have told guys,
It'd be like them
Yeah.
doing that. I mean, we're just an extension.
right. So, and we work with referees just like any other person on our back crew. It's very important to have a good relationship with them. And, keeping your emotions in check is very important.
Yep.
It is definitely an art form to be able to keep your emotions in check.
Yep.
Well, gentlemen, I'm gonna just let you guys go back to wherever you're going tonight.
Back to our bubble.
Yeah, back to the I guess the other end of the bubble at the arena. You're at the arena now, but you're heading back to the resort, I'm assuming. So, everybody give Adam and Greg a round of applause. However you do it, electronically, physically, however you want to do it.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
I'm happy to have you guys on. I'd love to have you on coming over the next several years. Love it. Love the fact you guys have, I've enjoyed our relationship. It's short-lived, but hey, I'm hoping it'll be long-lived for a long time. So I really appreciate you guys coming on. But enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your time down in the bubble. And you can hang around if you want and listen, but I'm just going to give some last-minute things to these guys. And so, guys, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on. You guys all.
you.
Good luck to you. Talk to you later, Dr. Jeff.
Thanks, Greg. Good to see you, man. All right. So you got the inside look at the bubble from somebody other than me, right? So what takeaways do you have? A lot of information was just shared.
Always network.
Yeah, isn't that the big theme that always appears in these things is always talk to people, right? How many people have we had on? We've had 8, 10 people already, and they're just like all saying the same thing, right? What else?
I thought it was just really encouraging to see that if you do put in that time and effort, it is going to pay off eventually if you are networking with people and saying yes to those opportunities.
Yep.
Kind of like Anna said, with Greg, like starting as a runner, that seems like the simplest thing, but, look at him now. So it's like, if you truly do, like Anna said, put in the effort and just realize like those baseline positions will get you places, so.
Well, and it's funny because a lot of the volunteer positions that come up for, Big Ten Conference and things like that are runner positions, or they're something that you would see as menial, right? But in reality, that one position could suddenly start to elevate you as you go. And Greg is the head of the scores table. When I say that, he is the man. When I say he's the man, everyone reports everything to him. Okay. As the official scorebook, he is the top dog at the table. So, but he's grown through the organizations that he's been with and knows how to do everything. Right. Adam, he has come through the organization in multiple roles. So that doesn't necessarily preclude you from reaching out to the Pacers and saying, hey, would love to work with you somehow. How can we do it? How can we make it work, or something of that nature? And then maybe be able to kind of finagle your way through a couple of different organizations, parts of the organization, and then get yourself out into the world and try other organizations, right? Him being a basketball fan, he kind of pigeonholed himself a little bit. Adam did, but at the same time, he made it work, right? So I mean, it's awesome that the connections that he's made, right? What about the rest of you? Do you think these people are normal people? Do you call me normal? Right? We're a bit odd. Yeah, Kyle, I know. I'm not. But we have to be a bit odd, right? Natalia, your question was phenomenal. And the reason why is because we really can't cheer. We really can't be excited. Like he said, literally the masks, they are the greatest help for us. And the reason why is because I get jacked when things are going on, right? You can tell by my emotions that I'm either excited or I'm disappointed, right? And it's hard at the Pacers table because you have to control it because you're working for the Pacers, and here at least we were working for the NBA. So it was a different perspective that we were NBA officials. And now it's like, you have to be stoic and you can't show emotion and whatnot. Right. But in reality, you're inside, you're exploding. I could not imagine being Greg and seeing that Luka Doncic 3 to win it. Right. I couldn't imagine being an Anthony Davis fan and seeing him to win the game. Right. Or TJ Warren for me, watching him go off. If I'd have worked that game where he went off for 50, I'd have been going crazy. You wouldn't have been able to see it because I'd have had that thing covered in my face, but I would have been going nuts. Right. So that sort of stuff, it's a great question because people don't understand that we have to be emotionless. We have to somewhat be robots. And it's hurt me over the years. And when I say that, I've been in sports since 1999, but I worked for a college where my job was where I couldn't be biased. Well, it's numbed me to all sports because I've spent so much time in it and immersed in it, right? I'm excited for people, but I've also got a job to do and I've also got to be unbiased, right? And people understand it when you're working for a college, but when you're working for a pro team, you can't do that. You have to be professional across the board for both parties, so it's difficult. So I don't really watch sports anymore because I'm kind of numb to it. I don't really get all that excited about stuff. I was excited for the Jamal Murray, Donovan Mitchell 50-50 game, but that's about it. It's more about the numbers and what's happening on the floor for me now, as opposed to I'm a fan, I'm a staunch Steelers fan like Kyle Clay. And, everything that happens with the Steelers, it either sucks or is good. For me, it's like, whatever, all of it. It's like, whatever. Same thing with the Baltimore Orioles and Kyle Clay, everything that sucks about the Baltimore Orioles, which has been everything for years and years. He's a big fan and he like lives and dies with them. I don't do that anymore. I used to. You were going to say something, Kyle. You were about to bust me. Come on.
No, I was just going to say it's been a rough 22 years of being an Orioles fan.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. So, well, thank you, gang. I hope they were insightful. They're good people. I've gotten to know them really, really well over a short period of time. And like he said, his daughter is a freshman at the University of Florida in Gainesville. He's headed up there after the restart. He's going to go up and spend some time with her before he heads back to Dallas. Adam has got a wife and 3 kids back in Washington, and he's chomping at the bit to get home, and she's chomping at the bit to get him home on Instagram. She's definitely showing her emotions there. Kyle, is there anything you'd like to add?
I don't believe so.
If you haven't signed up for tomorrow, the Sports Management Club Virtual Speaker Series, get signed up. Register for it. My reason why is because you're going to hear the same stuff, but it's going to be coming from higher level people. Okay. You need to keep hearing this, get it pounded into your head. Okay. Dwayne Herring tomorrow, and Wednesday is going to be Tyler Pratt from the Buffalo Bills, and Dwayne's from the Cincinnati Bengals. Jump on, just give it a listen. You don't have to hang around the whole time if you don't want to, but just jump on and be a part of it. Be a contributing member to the club. Even if it's not your major, check it out, because maybe there'll be some tips that'll carry over to you and you'll be able to apply them as you go along. Okay. All right, gang, we're out of time. Thank you again. And I will be talking to you on Wednesday. Have a great rest of your day.